And I think we'll end it here for tonight. Unless there's player conversation you guys want to have.
I don't know.
Well, I think I will say to Kalani.
It seems like Pakaz is building up quite a rapport with the Sith here.
Colony's ears twitch. She looks kind of concerned. Yes, I'm not quite sure what to make of that.
Do you think it is wise to let him construct a lightsaber crystal with the Kaya's help?
Well, what are you going to do? Are you going to go and say, oh, hey, sorry, you can't do that anymore? If you start a conflict here, we'll never make it back in time to save everyone.
Well, he's not planning on making the crystal until after this is all over.
I don't pretend to get involved, but I think we should keep an eye on it, but don't make any decisions yet.
Well, I suppose I could at least suggest to attempt to find a natural crystal. But
That seems like...
Pikaz is Pikaz.
So what is the difference between a natural and an artificial crystal? I'm afraid I'm not familiar with that.
These crystals are sometimes formed naturally by the Force in certain locations. It's...
Do all
It's
Jedi
kind
use
of
these
hard to
natural
explain.
crystals? Do Jedi also sometimes create artificial ones?
Fact check, Zariana. I'm pretty sure they don't, but
The difference between a synthetic and a natural crystal is a natural crystal formation usually grows on Force Nexus planets like Dantooine. The Sith use synthetic crystals, which are red. They create them, sort of artificially grow them. What usually happens is that while in the process they infuse them with the dark side, whereas natural crystals tend to usually either be neutral or light side and attune to a certain person that they've chosen during their growth period. Whereas Sith, kind of like how Sauron pours his power into the ring, they kind of pour into their power into their synthetic crystals that they create.
okay. Can I just say I tried to explain that?
Luke
Wait,
made
so
his crystal.
doesn't Luke try to make his lightsaber crystal after? Oh, is that what you were saying?
His green one is synthetic.
Yeah.
I think that is a very rare case, maybe only unique to Luke, but traditional lore says that when a synthetic crystal is created,
he didn't
it's
have
red.
he didn't have any access. Didn't know really anything about where the natural ones would be.
Yeah, and from what I've read, lore-wise, it's supposed to be color supposed to be able to be controlled. It's just they usually come out red if there's no attempt made on the color.
No, Sith are about practicality; they don't really care.
Yep, Kaz would probably do that too. I don't think he really knows anything about lightsaber colors and the cultural meanings of that the Jedi would get from a red lightsaber.
Well, I guess so. Does Kalani think that that only Sith use synthetic crystals? To her knowledge.
Yes, that is
Yes.
what the Jedi would
Yeah.
what taught.
Okay.
Well, then I guess it would be best if we could somehow convince Picaz to search for a natural Force crystal. I also really hope that these spirits are able to make a distinction between the gamblers group and the colonists.
Well, I think the hardest person to convince there is going to be the commander.
Even another thing I'm wondering is even if even after the threat is the direct threat is gone, whether they'll want to stay there.
Who?
The colony.
I give them at least a little while. They'll probably decide to stay there, though. There are a few who I could think of who would not want to disturb their particular works that they have going on there. So, that and they've spent, what, 3-4 months already on there? That's home to them for now.
Didn't the spirits express interest in the colony being only a temporary place and the understanding that they would eventually get their planet back for themselves?
It was a bit confusing, as was most of the conversation with them.
You know, we'll worry about that when we get to it. The most important thing now is to make sure the colony doesn't get turned into a smoldering crater. It's not best to dwell on things we have no control over and things that we don't know for sure are going to happen. We know a fleet's going to attack, and we can do something about that. But the rest of it, well, we'll get to it when we get there.
I suppose the gambler did ask us to talk with the colony. He is under the perhaps faulty impression that he can handle the Force spirits. But that is really not our problem if they decide not to let them colonize the planet.
And I mean, the deal is just that we're going to help try and smooth things over. So, if the colonists end up not listening to us, there's not much we can do anyway, but we can still hold up our end of the deal.
The only problem would be if the spirits see newcomers as a further affront to their sanctity on the planet and decide to attack the colony to kick out all foreigners from their planet.
Like I said, future problems that we aren't sure will happen. So, until we get closer to that time, there's probably not much we can plan or do about it. The only thing we could do is, do you want to steal an Imperial ship? Because we could probably get everyone off the planet that way. But I think that's quite outside of the realm of our capabilities at the moment.
Yes, I agree that this is not a current concern, although it is one that should perhaps be meditated on.
I think the longer we think about this, the more the answers will become a little bit clearer. For now, we've got one job to do, and we got to make sure that New Thanai actually lives.
Yes, yes, I couldn't save Telos, but perhaps we can save what's left of it in the colony.
I wouldn't worry too much, Jedi. It was you versus, what, an entire armada? Or two? Or three? I didn't step back to take count.
Although that's not quite so different from our current situation either.
Aye, but we do have a ship, a way to get on their ship, and make things very difficult for them. Whereas on Telos, we didn't exactly have that, did we? It was more like, boom, there's Sith everywhere. What do we do? Run for the hills. That sounds like a good plan.
Colony's ears droop a bit. She looks kind of uncomfortable.
You know, what confuses me the most is that was a Republic-style bridge in that box, yes? I'm not certain, but is that correct? Someone who's more familiar with the Republic fleet?
I want to make sure on this one, because I did get a nat 20 on that perception roll. That was a Republic-style bridge, right?
It was very similar to Republic style bridge, yes.
Alright. Well, it was similar to it, that's for sure. Don't know if it was identical or not, but it did look like it.
Well, it was the illusion version that might be the only real difference.
My concern is that not if the colonists disagree with the gamblers group staying there, but it's whether or not they tell the Republic. If the Republic engages the planet and the Force Spirits react negatively to that, it could cripple the fleet. Maybe. I'm not sure. But maybe that cube thing was trying to show us something, tell us something important. It's something we need to keep in mind. At least in the back of our minds.
That's true. They seem like, at least for the individual tests, we were viewing our past, and that last one was more of viewing our future.
Cheyenne
And it was-
sort of laughs.
Now who's the one thinking of crazy future scenarios?
Well, this one's been shown to us through the Force, right? And that's supposed to be some sort of thing that runs through the whole galaxy, giving destinies and whatnot, right? So that one's probably important to pay attention to, especially since it wasn't a Sith cruiser bridge.
The thing is, it might have been.
It was hard to tell. The language on the consoles was very garbled. I couldn't make out most of it. It was not exactly what I enjoyed reading, that's for sure. It wasn't basic, that's for sure. Almost like we were dreaming, but again, I'm not 100% sure.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, isn't a portion of the Sith fleet made up of people who defected from the Republic military with Darth Revan? So there could be Republic-style ships on part of the Sith fleet.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we should keep an eye out for it. I'm not saying we need to come up with some sort of elaborate plan to avoid something that we don't know is going to happen. I'm just saying, like these other problems, keep it in the back of our minds. Look out for any signs of it not being what we expect it to be.
Yeah, the colonists wouldn't really appreciate being rescued from a den of Rancors to fall into a pit of Gundarks.
Well, I think I'm going to go turn in, charge some power packs, and get ready for the early morning.
And Ajax will get up and pay for the food if there's a cost to said food, and then leave.
It's about 5 credits.
Well, how long has it been? It's been like half an hour maybe?
Probably an hour. You guys have been talking and eating together.
Okay, well, he'll go back to his room for a while, and then when it's been like 2 hours, he'll go over and pick up his data pad from the shopkeeper.
Right? You get your data pad looks like it's got a few more bits and pieces to it, but for the most part, it looks pretty much the same. She explains. So I changed the internal storage so you can store more. I also added in a few things that'll let you tap into some of the more secure areas of security. And she gives you a little bit of a wink there. I also installed an antenna so you'll be able to pick up more signals. Yeah, and I think that's it. Look okay to you?
Yeah, I'll take a closer look at it later, but it looks like you did a good job.
Well, I aim to please all my customers, no matter where they're from.
And he'll hand her the 250 other credits.
She takes it almost as immediately as you put it on the counter and then puts it away. And well, that's nice doing business with you. Yeah.
Yep. Have a good night.
You
And
too.
he'll walk away.
She goes back to messing with things on her counter, but you can hear just under her breath like a sigh of relief as you start walking out.
Somewhere Ayland is laughing to himself very hard.
Towards the end of this, Takaya finishes her meal
Okay,
and she...
real life distraction. What's going on?
Ajax got his computer his data pad from the vendor, and she's like, "Oh my word! Why did I have to work for a Mandalorian?"
Pretty much. At this time, Takaya and Shilu have, or not Shilu, Bakaz have talked and added a bit more. Make it an intelligence check for me.
Will do. Wow, that's low.
with the day's events and stuff, it's been hard for you to focus, and you start off kind of distracted, and she has to snap her fingers several times to get you to focus on what she's saying. Make one more check. With that, you start getting a hold of some of what she's saying, but by the time you're actually starting to get things, it's late in the night. She's finished her plate of food, and she's like, "Well, it's been a long day for you and for me. I think you need some more rest before we're able to continue any longer. So, I'll see you in the morning then."
Yes, thank you very much.
She nods. And I meant what I told the gambler. I'd be willing to help you craft your own lightsaber. It's a difficult process, but I think every Force user should at least go through it. It's a very rewarding thing. More rewarding than you can imagine.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I think to me it is probably a bit more of a curiosity, but I will try to be respectful.
One thing to keep in mind is every lightsaber, whether it's a Jedi's or a Sith's, is a reflection of the person. The effort you put into it and the knowledge you use, it will reflect who you are. Just keep that in mind as we go through the process.
Pekaz nods.
She stands up and nods, and then to the rest of you that are at the table, "Well, good rest. You'll need it. And may the Force be with you."
Thank you, lass. And Aelin tips his glass at her and nods quietly.
She nods back. Go ahead.
Good night, Takaya.
Good night. And she walks off the hall. About 2 minutes later, Kairanyu says something similar and bids you all good night as he also heads off to bed.
Pekaz scuttles off to go work on machines.
Yeah, Ajax gonna use a mechanic check and a use computer check to see if there's anything fishy that got planted on its data pad while it was being upgraded.
Go ahead.
All you had to do was look at the girl in menacingly, and she would have cracked and told you every single thing she did to it, whether it was good or bad.
Wow,
Interesting.
those are both terrible rolls. Wow.
They're not that bad with your bonuses, but still.
Yeah.
Wish I could help.
Nah, Kalani's only good with medical stuff.
Yeah, I need Aelon's help with this one.
As you start going through, you don't really see anything out of place on it, but you do notice there's been a few suspicious searches on your data pad, specifically about Mandalorians, and one really weird one about how aggressive they are and how likely they are to get angry with someone if they mess up. And there may be a little bit of digging into some personal information, but not certain how far she was able to get into that.
Dear.
It's going to be interesting.
Hold on a second.
Some digging through Mandalorian beliefs and what they would do, I would bet. Oh boy.
Oh, that's a bad roll. Alright, yeah, if he's going back to the shop.
dear.
Because
Ow.
is gonna have a lot of work tonight.
As you go back, there is a shield in front of the store. There is a sign that says closed, and there is no sign of Ankia side.
Break something.
No, he's not gonna break something.
I can fix it.
He did just. Oh dear, he did just have that roll. Oh dear.
Aelin will get up.
Yeah,
Oh dear.
but he can't really do anything if there's a shield up and no one is there. So,
Mechanics check or bypass the shield.
he, I don't think he's no. He's just gonna angrily storm off.
Throw a punch up against the shield and run off.
If he had like pieces of like flimsy to like write a message, he would write a very angry message in very large print.
If I
He
find
does
out
not
what you... Go ahead.
But he does not have that, so he can't.
Wait, didn't she sell you explosives?
Yes.
Yeah. Does it go through shields? Probably not. Would he
You can
waste
find
it on
the
such
emitters
things?
and place
No.
them on there.
Yeah, no, he's no.
There's some heavy boot marks as he leaves the store, and when she comes in the morning, they're still visible in the floor.
Oh, he might stop by in the morning.
I can't make money off that, darn.
Yeah, so he'll go back to his quarters angry.
Oh dear.
And we'll finish up his meal and go ahead and finish off his drink. Good night, y'all. Sleep tight as you can, and let's see if we can't be ready to take on the entire Empire tomorrow.
Now, how many of us are still here?
Just you and...
Shialu was there.
Yeah, you and Shialu.
Ah.
And Aelin will head off to bed.
Well, I think I'm going to go check on Master Kiranu and make sure he's getting some rest. So sleep well, Padawan Starfire.
Thanks. Good night. You too.
Alright. As you all each head off to bed, you find that single quarters have been provided for each of you. And they're actually fairly nice, fairly well kept. Guards tell you that it's no charge. You do find your master sleeping soundly, though when you try and knock on his door, there's no reply as he's sleeping and completely ignoring you. But you figure that out pretty quickly. So we'll pick up next week and the next morning, and we'll see what the morning has in store.
Sounds good.
Cool. I guess we'll save the mechanics roll till then.
Hey, good night, YouTube. Thanks for joining in on us.